All right, guys. We're back in the prep talk. Today we're gonna be doing something different. As you can see, today we are doing via Zoom as we got our special guest today, aka Big Big. And yeah, Sari is here as well, our co-host. All right,
Yeah,
how are you guys? How are
Yep,
you fellas?
good.
very good. It's nice to see you
Good,
guys
good, good.
again after so long.
Yep, very what? Almost 10?
Yeah, 10 years since I left Singapore for well, not for good, but for life, I guess.
Like,
Um, yeah, but yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, of course, I still want to meet you guys in person. That would
Mhm.
be really awesome. But yeah, man, how are you guys doing?
Myself definitely can be better. I mean, focusing on coaching, lifestyle, athletes and stuff, and myself, I'm taking a break for a while, and yeah,
Mm,
trying to explore more things, something like this, the podcast,
yeah,
to
yeah,
ensure
that's
that
good.
we, yeah, just to ensure that to keep the community. I feel that the community is lacking now, and there's no
Mm,
platform in Singapore that give out information, education, or getting bodybuilders to know each other, or people, or the netizen to know more about bodybuilding. Yeah, I guess so.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think back then also when I remember growing up, not so much support. Like everyone's kind of like at loggerheads with each other. Not just the person, right? Like I mean, I watch your other podcasts, like also the federations as well. Not many, but still, if everybody works hand in hand, then bodybuilding can grow in Singapore. So yeah,
definitely.
I kind of agree with what you guys were mentioning the first few podcasts.
Yeah,
for me,
sorry, you
you
heard?
have to, yeah, yeah. The thing is that the issue of against the organization against loggerheads is common here, right?
Mm,
Not only that, probably sometimes the rivalries between athletes it has become really toxic to a certain extent.
yeah, true,
Even if,
true.
even you go for shows, for men's pass during or rather at the audience level, sometimes it's unbecoming, not very patriotic.
Yeah, yeah, kind of notice.
So
Actually,
yeah,
yep.
it doesn't provide a very good environment for younger guys who want to compete and then
Correct,
seeing the negative feedback
correct.
or words being said about guys on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Agreed.
Big difference. Of course, I never competed in Singapore before, but I've been to shows and I know what Sari is talking about. And then when I competed in Australia, it's so different. Like when you go up
Yep.
on stage, right?
True.
People who don't even know you cheer for you. That's
Right.
one.
Right. True. True.
That's crazy. Like I don't even know
Yeah.
who cheered for me just now. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very big
I
thing.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So for our audience, for you guys out there, I mean, if you're not sure who's Mr. Marcus is, Marcus is also, I would say, one of the old OGs. And I mean, let's pull back years ago, as I believe that Marcus and Sari has been working together as well.
Yep.
Hmm.
Sari has
Yep.
been coaching Marcus for how many shows?
Just that one, but that was
Yeah,
a
one
very
two.
very important one because
Yep. Yep.
I would say that was sort of it was only my second year competing, right? But that was my first time that I prepped in Singapore, and I literally just flew there and I competed like 2 3 days later on the same
Yep.
week, lah, basically.
What
So
was
So
that? Arnold? No.
obviously, sorry, no, that was just a natural federation, one of the biggest ones in Australia called ICN. Um,
Oh, right, right.
but of course, I didn't know anyone back then yet. I was not even established in Australia, and I didn't have any connections, nothing. So that was very, very big win for me because like politics, right? Like
Yeah,
bodybuilding is gonna have
mm,
politics, but that show kind of proved me a bit wrong because I thought, okay, like I'm going there as a foreigner, going there with no one supporting me and everything, and I just literally spent like 20 25 weeks preparing in Anytime Fitness in Marine Parade.
Yes, Marine Parade. Yeah,
And then occasionally Balestier lah, but because I live
yeah.
in Balestier, but
because I
that's where I
remember
met Sari.
when
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
prepping for this with Sari, I met you at Marine Parade and stuff.
correct, correct, correct,
Yeah,
correct. You and Ruzani and the whole gang, Melvin,
yep.
everyone. That's how I met
Mm.
you guys, because I stopped training at Safra because Safra was just, you can't train at Safra. It's just
But
it's a
know
good place
you
to start, but
but Marcus, I know you way back before MP. If
of
you
course,
realize,
of course. Yeah, actually, was I don't know if you remember, but I was at the show where Rudy, I think, did his first comp, and that was I can't remember what show was that, but it
was
was
Muscle
the
War.
one. Yeah, yeah, but it
Muscle War.
was
Yes,
like,
correct.
I think
Muscle
I was
War.
doing the SciTech booth outside with Haider and
Yeah.
Shasni.
But do you remember that we know each other in True Fitness?
Yeah, I know, because you
Yeah,
work there. What?
yeah.
So many of the
Yeah.
OG guys used to start off in either Kelly Fitness, which kind of died down after a while, and then they moved to like True Fitness, and I
Yep.
think
Mm.
Fitness First, obviously, is so many outlets, right? So that's where I met
Yeah, correct.
all those people. Because okay, the one thing I'm quite thankful that I met so many of the OG bodybuilders is because I love to gym hop. As you know, I can't stay in one gym for like 3 months even, or 2 months. I always gym hop. I get free trial here, free trial there, a bit cheaper, at student days. But that's the reason,
Mm.
because I did that. I met all these guys, and these guys gave me a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. Even watching them train, you learn a lot. So that's why
True.
I'm quite happy that I did that. Obviously at that time I didn't know that it's going to be so beneficial. So sorry, back to the question. So that prep 2018, that was just 1 year I was working in Singapore. So that 1 year um after coming back from my studies, I decided to do a show in Australia. And then obviously at that time I was going to Balestier, and those late nights, Marine Parade, I was pretty much training there as well. But Sari was working there. Are you still working there?
Mm. Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. Oh shit, that's
Yeah,
long. Okay, so
yeah.
Sari is still working there,
Long,
and yeah, and
long
I
service
asked,
award.
basically seeked his
Mm.
advice, because obviously, um, I mean, bodybuilding is a bit of a superficial sport. You don't go seeking advice to someone who's scrawny, right? You seek advice to someone who looks like he had competed before. Even if you don't know the person, you want to know more. So I just took a leap of faith and say, hey, can you shed some light with me, because I'm a bit worried lah. Because usually people do it in their home country is okay, but I've heard things like, oh, if you fly, especially, it's gonna affect your condition. With holding water,
Mm.
be it not whatever, whether
Mm.
you're natural or not, it doesn't really matter. It's the same concept
Yeah.
applies. So if I'm not wrong, I engage Sari more for the peak week side of things, more of that kind of
Right.
experience. Not so much of the whole off season and comp prep. That one I was kind of like just doing it myself, but I
So
really didn't know what to do.
how long was the prep eventually?
Uh, you mean my whole prep? What's the duration?
Or for the ICN? Before, I mean,
Oh,
before you linked up with Sari and stuff.
yeah.
Listen,
Before
listen to this. Listen. This prep is the longest ever.
I mean, I just want to
I
know.
I it's still ongoing. I still do that.
Yes.
25 weeks at least. 25
On,
weeks.
all right.
Yeah. So maybe I can shed some light on why 25 weeks. Maybe to the viewers, they
Yeah.
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 So for okay, personally, I feel that because I've done normal preps before, 12 to 16, right? But there was once I got a chance to try this 25 weeks. I find that as a natural bodybuilder, you don't really have the recovery, fatigue management, and all the other performance markers to do a prep with that leeway of making adjustments. So let's say you're really doing 16 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever in between. It really has to be like every week counts, right? So you don't even have room for error, which is a bit risky lah. So
Mm.
I'm not so experienced, and I don't even consider myself experienced yet. I feel like 25 weeks is perfect. But when I mean 25 weeks, I'm not saying when it starts 25 weeks or you start doing cardio, you start doing all the hardcore diet. It's not like that. It's more of,
The transition.
yeah, it's really like
Yeah.
mindset shift. First 5 weeks could even be just mindset shift.
Yep.
Signing up for the contest in advance, and there's a big difference. Some people like to do the thing like they prep, then like last minute they see, oh, how I look, then I sign up. But I feel that that approach is not really good because you're not locked in mentally. Like I always sign up from the start,
I
and
agree.
then your mindset it really changed. Like you know that you're going up against people who you don't even know. And some of the federations I did IFBB in Sydney, it's like I sign up right, and like straight away what did I just do? I just signed up with a bunch of everybody's enhanced, but I don't care. Like it doesn't matter. Like whether you're
Yeah,
natural or
yeah,
not, I
yeah.
think it doesn't really matter. The end of the day is your mindset. Like big emphasis on mental aspect of bodybuilding. I think that can take you quite far. Like I even surprise myself sometimes, and end of the day placing is not so important. Like you can look very good but you place second last
True.
against a lot of good guys, right? And then you will be like, "Whoa, at least I know where I stand." But you could not really get shredded condition, but you place first. So placing really is irrelevant because you didn't really bring your best package when you won. Most important is the
Yeah.
package, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that prep was very, very good. I learned a lot. I just strictly followed. I didn't really ask many questions, right? I just followed
Yep,
strictly.
no.
He even followed me to the airport. Then he saw me eating my egg whites before the flight,
Mm.
everything. So
Yep,
I just
yep, yep.
followed everything, did
Yeah.
the water, and I gotta tell the viewers, it basically worked, lah.
So I'm curious. What's the toughest protocol coming from Surrey?
Uh,
Tell him.
it's not so much of okay. It's not so much. I cannot okay. Tough. When people always say tough and not tough, and I think everything is very different. You cannot really compare difficulty level. I think it's more like the biggest problem is
Issue.
people always listen to themselves. So let's say they sign up for a coach, right? Then the last part they're supposed to follow 16 weeks out of 16 weeks of a protocol, for example, but actually
Mm.
they followed 15 weeks out of 16 weeks. And
I,
then
I
what happens?
yeah,
They blame the coach. But actually you didn't follow it. You only followed 95%. What? You know
I
what I mean?
agree on
Right,
that
true, true.
because I just had a conversation with a friend like last week. I mean,
Mhm.
coincidentally, we are talking about this,
Yeah.
whereby uh, we were talking about someone doing a show and stuff and winning a show and
Hmm.
not having a famous coach, quote unquote.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
was explaining, I was saying like, I mean, do you know that? I mean, a friend of mine is quite new in the industry, so I explained to him. I mean, I explained to him. I told him that, do you know that it doesn't? You can have a good coach, but I believe at the end of the day, it boils down to the athlete itself.
Mm.
How much
Correct.
discipline you have, how much integrity you have. I mean,
Correct.
how much you want it at the end of the day. Because
Correct.
I've heard and I've seen as well, like you mentioned, like
Yeah.
you're only doing 95% of it,
Mm.
90% of it, and the 10
Mm.
week and the 10% of the peak week, you go south.
Didn't really follow. Correct.
You
Correct.
don't really follow because the issue usually boils down to seasoned athlete most of the time.
Mm.
When they say that, oh, I think I know my body well. I know my body.
Mm.
Oh, this food doesn't suit me.
Yeah.
That food doesn't suit me. Or the amount is
Yeah.
too much, and etc.
Correct.
Like
It,
I believe it's if you hire a coach, work with 100% whatever protocols that they give,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not saying that blaming the coach, but
Mm.
if it's the first season that you're working with a coach, with this coach, let him learn. Mistake tend to happen.
Both sides learn. Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
yeah, correct, correct,
It
correct.
tends because everyone is expecting perfection.
Miracles. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
miracle,
Yeah.
one shot, one kill. Yeah.
Mm.
So I believe that that's the issue that we are currently facing right now as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sari?
Like, let me add to that. The thing is that a lot of guys, local guys especially, I mean, they hire a coach, be it track record good or not good, right? They tend to think that that guy is a miracle worker. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So
Mm.
that guy between athlete and coach, you need to have an understanding because it works both ways. The guy need to give the coach the inputs, right? How he feel, how does he react, or rather the body react in terms of the new plans that the coach gives. You need feedback. So if you
Mm.
the coach is not getting the feedback, it's like I'm standing in the dark. You know what I mean? Right? So feedback is very important. And look, like for myself, I don't really market myself as a coach. You know, right, Marcus? I'm
Yeah.
a, I'm
Actually.
a,
Yeah. Actually, our case very, I think, oddball case because
yeah,
you didn't market yourself, and I didn't really look at a list of people who have very good resume or track record, like you said. I just
Yeah.
purely based on, okay, I know this guy from my gym. He's the most convenient, sort of say. Like I see him almost every time I go Balestier, and he
Yep,
looks like
correct.
he know what he's doing. That's it. I don't like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I shortlist here, shortlist there. How many athletes he trained? Where's his client result? Honestly, I didn't even know who you were prepping at the time. I don't even think I
Yep.
remember. I just basically went off what I my gut feeling lah, and
Yeah.
turns out it was much better than I think a lot of people overanalyze, right? They overanalyze
Correct. True. True. True.
things. Yeah, just yeah.
I'm not saying that coaches will promote are not good. I'm saying that sometimes coaches who I would say like don't really show their end product, but they know a lot of shit, right?
Mm,
So it's more on the knowledge on the ground, that the years of accumulating that knowledge, be it on himself or other people. I mean, sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. You
correct.
have to work together. You have to work together. That working relationship has to be good. Like what you say, if the athlete doesn't do the other 10% that he's supposed to
Mm,
do, and that's the crucial part, that's all on him, not on the
yeah,
coach. You know what I
correct.
mean? So so you have to have a symbiotic uh, relationship with both the coach and the athlete. Look, until now we're still friends. You know, to the point that if you
Yeah,
know, all my athletes are even like we have become like family already. That
yeah,
kind of a
true.
closeness where not like
Yeah,
a number on the board. Okay, this guy win this, this guy win that.
correct.
So I would, for me myself, I would have a working relationship that becomes to a point where even the mental part of it of the athlete, I would try to help. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So it becomes a family thing. Even there are few people like they know me, my name, everything from your uncle here and there. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
it,
It's
it, it
better
creates
that
a
way, lah.
yeah, better that way. So in a way,
Mm,
in the home front, you know what the athlete is facing. Not only the prep itself, it's in the home front. So if
mm,
the support in the home front is not really there, you think the guy will be excelling? No, we have to work on the home front. You know what I mean? So
mm,
it's more of a holistic approach. So if the guy, the mind, okay, from the beginning, we start all ready to go. Then what happened halfway, mid through, something happened. I mean, at
and the
home,
going
there's
gets tough.
yes, yes, yes. So that's where the coach comes in, not only just giving you a meal plan, training program, but
Mm,
a few words of encouragement, finding ways to solve the issues, and then move
correct.
forward. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
Yeah,
when you look for a coach, sometimes good to see track record. Yes, I'm not saying that it's not good, but
but
how
it's not
the coach
everything,
as
lah.
a person, yeah, it's not
Mm,
how the coach as a person. You can work with that person. If the
mm.
fellow is just barking out orders, right? I mean, some people can do that, but some people wouldn't be able to handle that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because some people not that kind of person.
Mm.
They cannot respond to that kind of brutal,
Correct.
like,
Yeah.
instruction manual
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
approach. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I mean, just speaking on that, I'm just thinking back, right? Like, even your action of, I know Singapore is smaller, but even your action of you and your wife coming down to the airport, like just that
Yeah.
action. I mean, let's say you didn't say anything, but the fact that
Yeah.
I know that you came down to send me off, it's like
Yeah.
big mental help for me. I don't know how to put it. It's just subconscious, right? Like, okay, I'm going for war, and I know my backing is there. Like I know
Yeah.
that there's a
Correct. True.
support system. Not that I'm alone at the
Mm.
airport, like eating my meal
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
the SMS.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's very
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that
Yeah.
coaches must go through that effort of
Yeah.
doing that. I know a lot of people do the online coaching stuff, but I kind of approach Sari because I'm not the kind of person that really likes I more prefer the face to face. So if
Yeah.
you see,
Yeah.
like, even
True.
until now, I've been self-coached because I know there are a lot of good coaches in US, whatever. I want to try a lot of things, like, like
Mm.
come to my mind along the way. It's like, oh, I want to try John Jewett, for example. I want to try
Mm.
AJ Morris, whoever, like everybody,
Mm.
right? All the good ones, and with
Mm.
obviously some decent track record. But end of the day, I'm like, I didn't do it because I'm thinking, like, it's not gonna be that personal touch, right? It's not gonna,
Correct.
you know,
True. True.
yeah, like now we're
True.
discussing online this Zoom thing. It's
Mm.
okay because I know you guys in real life already, so
Mm.
it's fine. But let's say I do a podcast with random people in the US I've never met before. It's very awkward, man. Very awkward.
Very good. Very
Very awkward.
out of touch. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and I you're paying them a lot, and then you can't really justify, if I met the guy before at some show and I really know the person's character, I see that okay, he's
Yeah,
pretty genuine.
sure.
Then after that we
Yeah.
take it online, maybe it'll work. But
Yeah, it
I
will work.
don't really think if you never met the guy before in your life and he's
Right.
prepping you the whole time online, might be some red flags to just consider. Like, I'm not saying it's not good. I think some have been pretty successful, but
I
just personal
let,
preference lah.
let me share a story. I wouldn't say who the athlete is.
Mm.
Let's say he used to be my guy, right?
Okay.
So he was prepping for a Thailand show. I think you would know this. Uh,
PCA.
I, no, 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 no. No, not okay. It's the INBA show, right? So
Okay.
this guy, I mean, he has a different coach, online coach, basically online. So I got everything good. So on the day of the show, send him the pictures, everything. So waiting for instruction, right? Ghosted, no? He got ghosted.
Huh?
Af-
Wow.
After the show, then the fellow replied,
I
"Good
can
job."
only
That's
smile.
all.
That's about it.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think you know who, right?
I don't.
That's not very.
You know who?
That's not very nice,
You
Nothing
man.
know?
really. I would say nothing really bad, but I mean, it's just
Yeah.
a sharing of the 2 cents, I guess.
Mm-mm.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if we're paying that much, right? You have a lot of athletes on your list, and everyone's competing all at the same time. And everyone, at least the minimum reply. You know what I mean? The guy
That's.
waiting for instruction.
Oh, I
You
don't
know?
even think that's
Mm.
minimum. That's mandatory, sir.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
If you want about, I mean, talking about online coaching and stuff, I believe
Mm.
I agree with what Marcus said. It's mandatory. I guess
Mm.
when it comes to when you want an online coach, when you want someone famous, just remember that
Mm.
time would be factor. The different
Mm.
zone. Yeah. So by having different zone, would that coach be able to
Able
commit
to
to you?
correct.
Yeah. And if you are
Yeah.
taking, I mean, that's like I mentioned again, I mean, it's just not wrong whoever you pick as a coach. If you want the famous one and you have the
Money,
budget to do so, yeah, I mean,
financial,
go for
yeah,
it. But I mean, with that say, it's coaching is just not it's not only just knowledge, but it's more into that emotional compatibility.
Correct.
You know, it's
mm.
True.
like
True. True.
to be there, knowing that it's 6 hours different, 12 hours different. Will
Oh,
the coach be
the
there?
yeah, the
And
other side of the world, 12 hours is no
yeah,
joke, man. Like
Yeah.
that's
plus,
very, very not feasible. But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Plus, having a very famous coach, they are not only having 1 or 5 clients under them.
Oh
They have
yeah.
at least
Yeah.
20 to 30 clients,
Mm.
whereby at different time zone, whereby can they
mm,
really suits you into it. Because like what
mm,
Sari mentioned, the coach ghosted. The coach goes MIA and stuff. I mean,
Oh.
I'm not pointing fingers, but I mean, at the end of the day, this what's happening in online coaching. I believe at 2018, 2016, online coaching wasn't a thing yet. I believe
Yeah.
so.
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Lah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
yeah, so
mhm,
that's the thing whereby I believe, I mean, it's not the coaches to be blamed or the athlete to be blamed. It's just that finding a good compatibility between each other. Yeah, I mean,
correct.
work
I
with
agree.
someone
I agree.
who you trust, who you know, who you
Yeah,
study, and you done your R&D
Homework.
per se.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, I'll just one more point. The funny thing is, people always think like takes two hands to clap. You know this saying, right? Always
Mm.
50-50. But actually, right, if you think about it, just now I said about the 90%, the
Yep.
coach did the thing, and then the 10% he messed it up. Actually, the 10% has more weight over everything else. Actually,
Correct.
if
True.
you ask my opinion, right, the athlete is always to blame. So even at the starting part when you pick the coach, right,
Yep.
if the fact that the athlete didn't consider all these potential risks, like you said, time zone,
Yep.
famous
Correct.
guy
Correct.
with like 100 clients,
Yep.
all these are potential risks. If the athlete didn't even consider all these things, actually in the end when things go wrong, he cannot blame anyone. He cannot blame anyone.
I agree.
You cannot blame anyone. You pay
I
everything.
agree. I agree.
Knowing the risk, okay, like, but they didn't count the risk. So not knowing the risk is also a problem. They have to be aware when they choose someone. So and then at the end of the day, when they don't follow it, it's also his fault. So most of the time, it's the athlete's fault, lah. Actually, to be very frank with you.
I mean, it takes a lot of maturity to understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
lah.
just
But
yeah. Sometimes these guys they jump the gun. They just look at
Correct.
the statistics, right? They
Just
don't
see
look
the
at
portfolio.
correct, true. Yes, portfolio is fantastic, everything. That's good. But there comes
Yeah.
like what you say, the risk. He's 12 hours behind or 12
Yeah. Yeah.
12 hours forward. You have to take into these considerations that
Correct. And I
it
think
might work for you or not.
I mean, it's easy to say now, lah, but if you throw me
Yeah,
back 10 years ago, right, I wouldn't know this, lah, right? I only know this
yeah,
because I seen things happen, and I was very lucky not to experience the hard way. I seen it happen to my friends, people who I know compete, and like I really know. Oh, so actually, there's a lot of potential risk, lah. But I was very lucky not to experience that myself and cop a loss, like money wise
mm,
or competition you lose wise. I was quite lucky in that sense. I just learned it through the years of watching people. But I think it's good
uh-huh.
that we share in this podcast because then the younger ones now know,
People
like,
will learn. People will
yeah, they
learn.
will know, oh, there's actually more perspectives to this whole topic, not just do you have the money, you can pay. There's most people just think that,
Yeah,
do you have the money to afford
yeah,
the expensive coach with a good track record? That's all they think about, the first thing that comes to mind generally, but they don't really think of the other possible things that can happen, lah. So it's good, lah. It's good that we share.
All right, I
Yeah.
just need your opinion, guys. What do you think about another thing about
mm.
changing coaches every show?
Sorry, can go first, lah. I have a lot to say, but I just want to think of how to summarize it.
I mean, it's open to the table. I mean, we just come on, man. I mean, this is a podcast. I mean, we will touch base on
uh,
this. Probably later on, we'll touch base about who is Marcus and stuff.
okay,
If yeah,
okay.
everyone wants to know.
Okay,
Yeah.
the first thing that
Look,
comes to my mind is, right, where this guy
mm,
get the money from, lah? Changing coaches every show, but okay. On a more serious note, I think, like, not everybody is so lucky to one shot one kill. Usually you need to work with someone a long time before they can know each other's body, right?
mm,
I'm
Definitely.
sure you guys have covered this before a little bit, but
yeah,
I think changing coaches every show is a big no-no. Regardless of whether you can afford it or not, I think it will not do justice to you and the other party. Nobody's gonna learn in that short time. If every prep is 1 year and this guy say, I don't know, some guys compete every year, right? So they compete
mm,
every year. They change coach every year, lah. So in 10 years they have 10 coaches. Then how do you're throwing in more variables? How do you know which one worked for you and which one didn't? That's the problem, right? I mean, it's the same.
yeah,
Let's go something more relatable, close to home. Like it's the same thing like PED use, right? Like I know
mm,
that for a fact, if you throw in so many compounds and elements, how do you know which one worked and which one didn't work? And then if you start very young, you don't have foundation, you're just making the thing more messy, lah. You have a blank canvas, but you're just making things more messy. But end of the day, bodybuilding is about improvement, and you cannot improve unless you know which factor works for you and might not work for someone else, and which factor didn't work for you, but maybe it works for someone else. So changing coaches every year is the same concept. I feel like if you keep doing that, then you're not gonna learn because all you know is the
mhm,
result of each show, but the result of each show doesn't really determine anything.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't really determine progress, right? So, and every show is gonna have a different result, different package because you have a different coach. Whether good or bad doesn't matter, but you can't really learn lah in that short span of time.
I
That's
would
my
like
opinion lah.
to touch base as well. I mean,
Mm.
usually I would say commonly in Singapore,
Yeah.
people will value changes of coaches by seeing pick week. Or these coaches can pick this guy. Oh, he
Mm-hmm.
picked his athlete so good. Oh, his athlete is so ripped stuff. So yeah, these are the cases that we usually see in terms of
Okay.
you can write me if I'm wrong, but I
Mm.
believe you know what I'm saying.
Generally,
Right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Generally, I mean it's like, hey, this
I
guy
guess makes
picked so
sense.
good. Who's the coach? Oh, this one, okay. Now I'm gonna go with this coach. Because
Nobody see the guy pick so good and say like, what diet and cardio did he do? Straight away, who's the coach? Is it? Okay.
this is the part where backstage, sometimes I think really will know. The guys will say, oh, this coach, they got seen, after seeing the guys, the end product, right? So look, like big week or even the off season of big week
Mhm.
or the 16 trophies you're on the prep. Doesn't really matter. The really important thing that what you said, Marcus, is the dieting, is the amount of cardio,
Did you
and
skip
of
the
course,
cardio?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, even with PED use, that's it. You change one coach and then you change another coach. Those coaches have different approach in PED. So
Correct.
so imagine you have one coach who really top up the volume. You know what I mean? In terms
Yeah,
of
yeah.
PED. Then the other guy asks you, what's your PED protocol previously? Okay. And then after that, the guy say, okay, we change up everything, different compound, up the volume. Even worse. You see
I
where I'm
think
coming
it's
from?
gonna make
Yeah.
things more
You see?
messy. That's what I meant,
Yeah,
lah.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
now I
So
see where you're coming from. Because
yeah, it's just
if your history, your kind of like the previous
mm-hmm,
prep, let's say using PD, I think those chemicals will affect. Because if the next guy changes the whole way of doing
mm-hmm,
stuff, then what if your
mm-hmm.
body's already using those? You know, like I think that's what
Correct,
you
yeah.
meant, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
does
So
make
it
sense.
it breaks the dynamic of it
Oh,
because
that's
previous
correct,
good,
coach
correct.
man.
runs the blood work. He knows the
Uh,
Uh-huh.
then so
Yeah.
when you flip the table and go to another coach, turn running, and this
Mm-hmm.
coach say, "Oh, you can still push
different.
your test load for just for example, you're running at
Yeah.
750. Oh, you can push another 250. You can do 1,000 gram per week on your test, but not
Mm-hmm.
knowing that
Oh,
his blood work is horrible,
hmm.
then that's where thing goes south, you know.
Oh, it's quite tough, man. It's very
Because
complicated.
Then, then, then,
recently,
then, 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 then you come to a point where the athlete will gain the coach. You know what I mean?
Back to square one,
So,
lah,
back
basically.
to square one. Ah.
because recently I just bump into a normal gym goers and stuff.
Ah,
And he was I was training, I was doing arms and stuff. Then he came to me and said, "Bro, one day my body will be like you." I'm saying like, "Huh? I'm just off plan and stuff. I mean, I'm just cruising through." Then he was like, "Oh yeah, I was lucky. He's a Middle Eastern guy, Egypt." I was like
yeah.
saying, "Oh, I'm on cycle. So how long have you been on cycle?" He was like, "Oh, I'm on cycle for 3 weeks." "Oh, what are you running
I
on?"
just started.
I'm running on Test. His first time Test, EQ, and Primo. So I was asking him, all right, so how much are you running on your test currently? Oh, I'm for 3 weeks, I'm running at 500. So next week I'm gonna push to 750 for a fucking first time, bro.
Okay, wait. So, I mean, okay, I don't really know the thing, but the three things you mentioned is now usually people, is it the first cycle they don't do that kind of stuff?
No,
I mean,
It's too heavy. It's
no,
too heavy, is it?
no,
yeah, I
Oh,
mean
okay, okay.
it's
no.
you're new. I mean
Yeah,
you're not testing that water with a test compound in your
yeah.
body, yeah, to see how your body react and respond to it. And you're
So he basically throw himself in the deep end already.
yeah, exactly. So I was
Yep,
like,
yep.
who told you to do this, bro? Oh, my friend from the Middle Eastern tell me that I can go 500. Then, bro,
Okay. Okay,
this kind of
can I just ask you a question? When you saw
yeah,
him in real life, right?
yeah.
Let me just wild guess lah. He didn't even look like he was on stuff, right?
He was selling kunafa, bro.
Oh. So it's
I
cannot, man.
mean,
Like,
nothing against him. So yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
told him that this is not good. I mean, whoever your friend is, I mean, I'm
Bit
hopefully that you
worried.
don't take any, I mean, consume any informations like this. So I
Uh,
explained to him what need to be done, how much is your dosage, how much you need to run since you are
yeah.
a virgin
First
to
timer.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't need your EQ and Primo as for now. You just let that test compound sit into your body and let it run for a couple of weeks, and we
Yeah.
adjust basically on your food and your training intensity, and that's
Yeah.
about
And
it.
I'm pretty sure he will already make heaps of progress with the basics, like but that's a bit overkill, the one that you
Yeah,
mentioned just now.
that's crazy lah. That's crazy. I mean, it's that's the reason why it came through my mind, crossed my mind that I
Yeah.
want to do this podcast. And Mr.
True.
Sari coincidentally dropped me a text and
Oh, nice.
told me, "Hey bro,
Yeah,
how we do this?"
everything went with the flow, connected well. Nice.
So I was like, okay, I mean, if this is something that we are meant to be doing, why not
Mm.
do it? Be the first in Singapore, share it,
And yeah,
yeah,
correct. And I'm
bring
pretty sure
all.
there's a lot of people like that guy you met, just that we don't know about, obviously. They just,
Yeah,
everywhere, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
So the plan is to bring the proper bodybuilders to the platform,
mm,
the OGs, the current elite, even the new one that have potential that can share a lot of their stories. That is
Insights, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's good. I think, yeah, but I appreciate you guys for even thinking about me. To be honest, like it's an honor, lah. I think your other athletes are way another level, but yeah, I'll just share what I can, I guess.
I mean, by far, I would say, knowing you, the thing that I love most about you is your dedication, your focus, how you flip the switch. Where
Mm,
I would love people, the audience, my audience,
mm,
our audience, to know what needed to be done in terms of flipping the switch, having that
mm.
focus, and leave no stone unturned
Correct,
until
correct. I
showed it and
think,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
Look,
like,
let
yep,
me add on to that.
yeah,
For someone who's doing it naturally and to flip the switch,
exactly.
it takes a lot. It takes a lot, you know. So if those guys who are using on a cycle on a PED and you tell them to switch a flip, switch the thing up to up a notch, right? They sometimes some of them find it very difficult to do it, you know. And you have all the tools in the box to help you with recovery, getting stronger and everything. And yet you have
and you
to, as a
still,
coach, no,
yeah,
you,
true.
you still need to have a hammer to
To
hammer
whack the
literally
guy.
to not, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
So
mean, look,
something is
yeah,
missing, lah,
something's
and
off. Yeah.
yeah. So I think, I mean, I'm not too sure. I can't really say for like the guys that you prep and stuff, but I would say if I was in their shoes, oh, I think like like you said, like when you have more tools in your arsenal to use it to
Mm,
your advantage, you know, and like
yeah.
for me, I think that's where it's funny. It's like a mirror image thing. It's like I told you when I signed up for that first time I did IFBB show, and that
Uh,
was when they didn't have the
uh,
natural segment yet. They just have the normal IFBB Pro League, right? So I just tried that show out. But I tell you, when the thing I signed up for it, right? It's like I know all these guys have so many tools, right? And I only have
mhm,
what, diet, training, which is like obviously I'm not gonna train as like crazy like them, and cardio, and obviously then the only thing I have, the fourth one most people forget, is the mental element, like what Rudy mentioned. Um, I think that's what I have an edge over most of the people, because I can 25 weeks eat from Tupperware if you ask me to, no problem. Like
You
it,
see, this is the part where you remember Kane, right? Remember
yeah,
Kane?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, I have a discussion with Kane.
Mm,
One day, if Marcus were to go on to the dark side,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
With his mentality, with his discipline, consistency, he
Oh,
be IBB pro. No problem.
wow.
No problem. You know what I
It's
mean?
a dream.
It,
It's a
it,
dream. Yeah.
I
yeah.
agree,
You
bro.
see,
I agree.
see,
Hey,
if you put
actually, yeah, yeah. Correct. Sorry, can continue. Mm.
so the thing is that the it takes it takes someone with a lot of mental fortitude to push hard and doing it naturally. And if that someone to go to the if one day to go to the dark side, uh, it will be seamless. You know what I mean? To
100%.
transition from that.
I think it'll be worth it, lah. I think like
Yeah, will be.
I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
already. I mean, now I'm already 34. I started training in 2008, and I was like what,
Yeah,
19 or 18 back then. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it, like you said, the mental fortitude. I think that took time. Like I think it
Mm,
wasn't overnight for sure. I think in my 20s, I was still like any other kid in Energy One Safra playing around. But I think what made it better was just sticking to it, like my passion for the sport. Even though I don't even have cert 3, cert 4, right? So I'm just like
mm,
always having that student mindset. I always want to learn, like meet you guys, meet,
mm.
like when I was traveling in Korea, I just meet random people. Like I saw the guy was like huge and he's friendly, and like, hey, can I train with you? Like all these small things counts. Like all these things help
Yeah.
me to realize, like at the end of the day, it's all about learning. And if you
Mm,
close that door to learn, and if you think like,
mhm.
oh, I have a pro card now, I'm IFB pro now, the moment you close that door, right, it's over for you, man. Like someone's
Yeah,
gonna take longer, but they're gonna overtake you because they're gonna keep learning.
correct.
So
Guys, hold your thoughts.
yes,
We're gonna end
40
this
minutes. Right, got
as
it.
part one. We're gonna carry
Okay.
on and push forward to our part two of this podcast. All
Yep.
right.
No worries. Hello,
We're
hello.
back
I'm back.
again. Part two of the Brett Talk with Brett Talk, a trio, co-host Sari, and our special guest Mr. Marcus Big from Australia.
Thank you.
Just to mention,
Mhm.
mention in our part 1 of episode 8, our podcast are sponsored by Field Stretch Performance. Yeah, so if you guys want to get yourself fixed and stuff, do drop by their Instagram, their website, and yeah, get yourself fixed, get yourself good to go for training, and yeah,
Yep.
get
I'm
yourself
yeah.
fixed once. Yeah.
I'm in need of a good fixing, man. When I come back Singapore, all broken. Right?
Yeah, I mean, as on our part 1, we've covered a lot. I mean, we slightly go off track in terms of coaching, at least our point of view on how Marcus' point of view and stuff. But I would love to know, I believe our audience would love to know, I mean, who is Marcus? When did you start? What's your biggest achievements? How's your journey and stuff? And for those who are wondering who's Marcus and stuff, let me share with you guys.
Oh,
Marcus.
don't trust anything on Google, guys. Don't, just careful these days. There's a lot of AI going on. You know, it's not me.
Give yourself some more
Alright,
credit.
as
Come
you
on.
guys can see, this is him. This is what Olympia amateur, right?
Olympic amateur weekend. Don't get confused. I don't want people to say like, "Hey, you didn't do the amateur Olympia." Don't pretend, you know. But it's the same weekend. Same weekend. I actually
Yeah.
met I'm sure you guys know Nick. I don't know his last name.
Nick
Sorry, I
He,
just
right?
met him
This
that
is
day.
the recent
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Nick
Nick.
He,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So Nick he was there.
Yeah.
I was actually before this photo was taken. I was just running around upstairs, and then suddenly I heard a familiar voice, Marcus. And then I turned. It was Teddy Zazali, and then Teddy, and then
Rod
Gerald, and then
Teddy.
all those guys, all the guys from Freedom Gym, I believe, in
Yes.
Singapore. Where's that place? Near the city, near Tanjong
Enterprise.
Pagar.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So they were there. They were there, all there supporting him. So that was nice. That was a bit of a surprise to see them. I didn't expect to meet anyone from Singapore there. So yeah, that was the
Yeah, and if
latest
you
one.
guys, this is your INBA.
No, this is another federation in Australia, Natural Bodysport. So they are pretty much covering all the regional areas in Australia. So there's a lot of people who want to compete, right? But they're not living in the cities like Sydney or Melbourne. So I had to drive about 6 hours for that one. So that was fun. That was after Korea, coming back from a 11-hour flight, and then I didn't bring the family on that one because it was too tough.
This is classic,
So
right?
yeah, so this federation, they believe in old school bodybuilding. Means bodybuilding is meant to be classic. So there's no bodybuilding and classic. It's basically just
Wow,
bodybuilding.
Just classic.
But you wear the classic trunks,
I
of
can
course.
see the mustache, bro.
Oh yeah, I tried to do a Haider there. You know, Haider's famous for that mustache, but can't compete. I need more time. I didn't have enough time to grow the mustache.
I, okay. I bet, and I I would say the audience would question. I mean, for those who knows you, for those
Mm-hmm.
who are new coming to bodybuilding and knowing who is this Marcus, why his name is Big. He's Big man.
Oh,
I might show you guys. This is a
oh,
this
okay.
is and he's natural. Okay,
Yeah,
let me show you this.
they're not gonna believe
Yeah.
that, man. Like I tell you, I mean, you guys know me, but most people when they see me, even in Australia, they first thing they ask me what am I on, right? So
Yeah.
I would say let's just go back to the roots, lah. Okay, Energy One Safra, 2008,
Tell them, man.
2008, yeah, 2008 until maybe 2015. No leg days, man. Arm days. So my split, right, was chest, chest, bicep. Next day, shoulders and arms. Next day, back triceps. Next day, shoulders and arms, and repeat lah. So and you know, when you're 20 years old,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as rest day. Who the nobody cares about rest day, right? So I was doing that, and then back then you don't know anything. You thought more is more. You don't know about less is more. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
very free, right? Before army, there's no that period of time after O levels before army.
Yeah.
So I go to Safra. I train arms for 2 hours. 1 hour of tricep, 1 hour of bicep, and then go to the jacuzzi, eat lunch, relax, and then come back and then train again, shoulders, maybe shoulders and something lah. So basically, last time, yeah, maybe you're young, you can't really feel that, the negative impact. But just to tell the young guys out there, more is not more lah, less is more. Okay, so don't
Yeah, less is more.
you
Don't do what you
what
do.
and yeah. So in the on hindsight, what actually happened? I'll just share the very important part of it. What actually happened is the arms got too overpowering, and
Yeah.
all this does right is when you go up on stage, the judges straight away the eyes go to your weak point. So this is very bad. This is not what you want. Oh yeah, that's probably
Look
one
at
of the
this, man.
best
Look at this,
transformation. Yeah.
guys.
So
Look at this.
so in the photo below, right, is I play soccer for Singapore Poly with my class. Lots of cardio, eating a lot, but too much output. It's always calorie in, calorie out.
You look like
Mm.
Simon
So
Boy, you know.
who the hell's that? I don't know who's that. Oh, wait, eh?
The
Oh no, no,
TikToker,
it's okay.
TikToker.
So basically, that's just sub 50 kilos, right? And it's funny because I didn't want to take these photos. My dad asked me to take it. He's like, "Can you stand at that green wall there and flex?" And then I just then turn and then flex. So I just did like I think front double bicep, side chest, and back double bicep. That's about it. You see the photo behind is all the soccer Premier League
Yeah,
calendar. So
yeah.
So
Fernando
this
Torres, Drogba,
nothing got to do with bodybuilding in this picture.
nothing got to do with bodybuilding. That's basically just obviously a bit of strength training from physical activity as a kid
Yeah.
and playing soccer,
Dang.
right? And then my dad started saying like, you're too skinny. Bring me to Energy One. And then I just fell in love with it. I just started training like everyone else and met some really nice guys back at Yishun Safra. That was where I used to live. I used to live in Sembawang, so that was the nearest for me. And I used to go there, and then I got so hooked, right, that my parents got a bit worried, lah. I started doing the thing like crack all the eggs, then throw all the egg yolk away. You know those old school thing, and then tuna
Yeah,
with wholemeal bread,
yeah,
like poor student life, but one still want to bodybuild. No money for
yeah.
salmon. It's okay. I got a lot of canned tuna, so just do that, and then as the
Marcus,
years go by, you can see.
what
Sorry, go
what's
ahead.
it sorry, what's the difference between these two pictures? How far was this?
Body weight wise,
No,
so
each.
inch. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
the
yes.
obviously the skinny one I don't have lah, because I didn't measure. I didn't know about any of these things there. But my best measurements was about 19 half. I would say 19 half pumped, but cold maybe 18.
Okay. How young were you at the bottom one? 17?
Bottom one about 18.
Oh,
2008 I believe. 2008. Yeah.
the top one?
Top one was before COVID. This photo is before COVID in Sydney. So this is
Yeah,
2020 is before COVID, right? So that's
yeah.
now it's what now
2019?
so
2019?
no. So yeah, so that I'm about 29 there, 29.
Mm.
So I say between the photos, it's a solid 10 years, 11 if not 11, solid 10 years.
Mm.
Yeah,
I mean,
and out of the 10 years, yeah,
when we're gonna show this image, I mean, our audience to see, I mean, I would say
yeah.
80% would say he's a genetic freak. After seeing this, and they
No,
know
there's
my
no such thing as genetics, man. I don't believe. Okay, so this let's debunk this terminology genetic freak, right? I think people can only use because it's very common. People always say, "Whoa, it's your genes. Whoa, this guy's a freak." All these words, right? But now it's used so much that everybody's a freak, right? Everybody who's in shape on stage is a freak. But to me, right, genetic freak, right, is someone who's up there top 10 Mr. Olympia. That's genetic freak. All of them are genetic freaks
I agree.
Mhm.
because even
Okay.
before they were on juice, right, they were probably 3 times bigger than me already. I'm sure you know
Yep.
who I'm talking about. Those guys.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
I met,
yeah,
yeah, that day in Newcastle, I bumped into Lee Priest. He was just
Ooh, I
hanging
bet.
out with his guys, motorbike, like on the uncle motorbike, like the tattoo
yeah.
motorbike style. Then he was just packing up his car. Then I told my wife like, this is my only chance, man, because in the expo it's too crowded. So I was like, I just ran across the road, asked for a photo. So I took a photo of him and had a small chat. But these guys are the genetic freaks. So don't use these terms on, you know, normal people like us. I would say lah, it's a bit undermining the real genetic freaks. Okay, so
Yeah.
um, yeah. Sorry, Rudy, continue.
I mean, to top up with that, I mean, yeah, I've heard
Mm,
just few days ago I heard Lipri said in terms of
mm,
about genetic freaks as well. Uh
mm,
he said about someone compared these young athletes to him
mm-hmm,
and he disagreed. He says that if you're comparing him to me,
mm,
he's competing at 14, 15, 16 years old are winning overall, then you compare them to me. But if they are not winning at 14, 15 and 16 years
Don't even
old,
compare, right? Don't even
and
Don't
compare.
compare.
becoming a
You can't
pro at
compare.
19 years old,
Nah,
they are
nah,
not
Yeah.
close to me at all.
nah,
Yeah,
nah.
that's
You
genetic.
can't compare. Yeah, look,
I
there should be a clear difference or line between a genetic freak and those guys, these young guys probably starting boost at 18 years old. Those are not genetic freaks, right?
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
enhanced freaks. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And
So
wannabes, and of course, guys who
yeah,
wanna
wannabes, yeah.
bodybuild, like
Yeah,
everybody's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Understand.
yeah.
Exactly.
All right. I mean, look at this picture. I love to look
Oh,
at big training, bro.
don't correct my format.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
know
I
I'm using
mean,
a spin
okay.
machine. I'm using a spin machine. I know. I mean, I'm using a spin
Bro,
machine.
bro. I mean, I'm a practice person of machine training, Smith machine. I love Smith machine. I've not been squatting free bar for a couple of years. I'm always on.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Since the days when I used to work at the laboratory, I used to squat 3 bar, and look, I squat 4 plate each side. But now, as you're getting older, you're a bit more smarter.
Smarter,
Smith
yeah.
machine, yeah, Smith machine is the best.
Exactly.
Smith
Okay.
machine.
What I want to touch base. Okay, just look at this picture, fellas. Sorry, I think you know where I'm coming
Let me
from.
look also.
I know.
I and Sorry, have talked about this. I mean, on a previous episode. I mean, like, okay, this is range of motion. This is training hard. Looking at your face,
Yeah,
looking at how
yeah,
you preload that load to
Mm,
that primary objective
correct,
to ensure you get that proper activation and
correct,
stimulation. Then you drive. All right.
correct,
correct.
So,
right.
how heavy are you going? 3 plates. But
Yeah.
nowadays, I would say I can see in Instagram 4, 5 plates. But at this area,
Half reps.
yeah, half reps, uh, rounded back, knees are caving in, and a lot of this bullshit is happening. I mean, I don't.
Mm,
I don't go against people who have meathead and stuff, but like I've told sorry, like there's a thin line between a hardcore training and training hard.
Mm.
You train
true.
hard, you train smart.
Mm,
I'm not saying that training smart to shortchange those hard training to make it simpler. No, what I'm training based on train smart is to understand what's the fundamentals and the basic fundamentals of hypertrophy.
mm,
Right.
Correct.
What we want to gain as a bodybuilder, we want to work on stimulation. We want to maximize and to get the most out of the work from that repetition and that set. So, but
true.
yeah, if you're gonna execute it and break the form and just moving from point A to point B for the sake
Better
of
be powerlifter.
yeah, you
Yeah,
might as well you be a powerlifter, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
correct,
mm.
correct, correct.
So looking
Let
at
me
this
let me
picture,
put
it shows a lot of story.
Marcus. Remember the time when I have to kind of show you how intense I want you to train? Remember?
Yeah, I remember that was at
Yeah,
gym box. We were training just
gym
shoulders,
box.
but I almost puked,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. You see?
Who the hell
See,
feels like puking training shoulders?
Make sure this. Yep. He
Yeah, yeah. I
really,
remember.
real. He
That was
was
big.
sweating buckets. He was sweating buckets just doing shoulders. You know
Just
what I mean?
shoulders, man. People thought we were training
Just
legs, but
shoulders.
it was just
Yep.
shoulders, yeah.
Shoulders. Look, sometimes you look. Uh, Training intensity and training hard are two
Mm,
different things, right?
mm.
So if Marcus can if we can rewind back time, and then you can tell that when we were training shoulders, remember the lateral raises?
Yeah, I
Everyone
remember
practically,
partials. Yeah,
yep.
partial
You can,
superset with the normal. Yeah.
yeah, you can remember everyone was actually looking at us, and we were
Oh,
not even bothered. We were so in the zone.
so yeah,
After
it's
we after we done that, we look around. Oh, we become a spectator sport. You know what I mean?
yeah, like a zoo and
Yeah. So when someone say they train hard, I like to differ. You know what I mean?
oh, I appreciate that.
You, yeah. Anyone that say that, oh, I train hard, no, bro. Okay, show me. When they
You have
really train
to
with me, yeah,
Yeah, you just can't say that you can't really say that you train hard. Like even every day as I train, like
Yeah.
every morning before work, it's like even the night before sometimes like I know my wife's gonna say something, but like I always say like, oh, I'm really thinking about the workout, man. Like a bit worried, like
Yeah, yeah,
having
yeah,
a
yeah.
bit of like jitters
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
of course legs everybody has jitters, but can you
Yeah.
get to the point where like even if you're training chest, something that is nice to train, can you even or like I get a bit of jitters and then my wife always says, what's wrong with you? Like I wearing my shoe, right,
Mm,
gagging, like trying to coughing out. Then like, what's wrong with you? Do you take some pre-workout? No, I didn't take anything. I'm just very nervous lah. Like, cause I'm really trying to make my workout count because these days I don't have time lah. To be fair, like just 1 hour,
yeah.
is so important. Like you need to really have the intensity.
And
If
to
not,
anticipate that 100% basically.
correct, correct, correct. I
Yeah.
don't have the luxury of time to train 4 hours at Safra and still go jacuzzi anymore. There's no such thing. So so now it's really everything counts. And I would say like based on the photo you show, I think I started very late lah, training legs to be very fair. And I advise to young kids train your legs, man. Like foundation is always
Yeah.
start from the bottom.
Yep.
And if I had done that from the start, maybe I've been leg big big now, maybe not arm big big. But
Bro, but
my
I
legs
remember
actually caught up.
you smoke me with arm training, bro.
No, it's just I mean I've been training arms for so long. It's not. It's like already my strong point, right? It's not because I've genetic freak. It's your muscles used to that brutality. So now for this whole prep, the past few years, I've really been focusing on my legs. Every off season, focus on legs, focus on legs. Whether Smith, free weight, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But there are some things I picked up that I can share, with the younger ones, especially. So one more thing I need to point out, guys, since 2008, in that skinny photo just now, I'm
Yeah.
injury free until now. So I think one of the main things that's important is to let people know that it's really really not about the weight. Of course everybody knows it, but it's also about activation, like you guys said. Like you saw the Smith machine squat, right? It's always my third and fourth movement nowadays. I don't
Yeah.
do compounds
Yeah.
fresh anymore.
Yep.
People always say like, I know people have told me that, but until you pass 30 years old you won't really know what it means.
Yeah. Now you
So
know.
Usually
yeah,
people
so
want to get that big compound movement first off the list.
correct.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I know what they mean because okay, so before I went to Korea recently, I did an off season for 3 years.
Yeah.
I was 105 kilos. I don't know if you can find a fat photo of me, but I went up to
Oh
105
yeah.
kilos out, and then I actually competed in a powerlifting contest, which I failed miserably at because I went that form like you saw that photo lah.
The one you showed
Nobody,
me, right? Through Instagram.
I think so.
Remember?
Nobody does a powerlifting comp, goes there and tries to squat the perfect form. They just
Yep.
want to move the weight from point A to point B.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am so paranoid, and I always have this thing in the back of my head. I cannot get injured. I cannot get injured. And now, of course, I have my 1-year-old daughter. Right, it's like, oh, I really cannot get injured. No matter how
Yeah.
hard I train, I have to train hard, but I cannot get injured. I'm still doing stiff leg deadlift,
Yep.
76 kg. That's my best for like 6 reps. Dumbbell each hand 76. But I told myself my form is still important. If I don't feel it, just deload. There's always
Yeah.
another day. But a lot of young people, I guess, in maybe Singapore gym now, this is very crowded. I heard the gym scene has changed a lot since I was back there. It's so crowded now. Everybody's training hard, yeah, I know, but a lot of people do it for show. I'm sure because there's people watching, right?
There's a lot of
But
sebum, bro.
a lot of mustache going on nowadays.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
prefer yours. I prefer yours. You look like Jason Ha. You know Jason Ha, remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
the
Yeah. The
guy
old school.
retired
Like that.
already. But
yeah.
only old
Old
school people
school,
will know
bro.
lah.
Old school. Old school.
Yeah, I also like him because his arm very freaky lah, vascularity. But
Form.
anyway,
Form.
Yeah.
back to the point is that nowadays, okay, because of my daughter, I have only basically the time I train before work, before they wake up or after she sleeps, right? But after a whole day of work and then your family sleeps, there's no way you're gonna train 100%,
True.
and there's a high chance you're gonna get injured. So I know I don't even know how I brought myself to do this, but recently, pretty much the whole prep of the past year, I've been training at. I wake up at 3:30, meal prep to 4:30, hit the gym at 5 or 4:30 even if earlier. But I have to finish by around 6 a.m. So this thing, right, where the gym is empty, versus last time when back home, there's a lot of people in the gym watching you when you train. Very very big difference. Actually, I find it's really that Sari was saying about the mental fortitude. Of course, at the start it was hard, but after a while you start to realize like you need to hit those numbers or train the intensely or whatever, but you need to do it when no one's watching.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
If you only can do it when people are watching, means every other time when no one watching, he's not really pushing that hard, you know.
Agree.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
So I think that was the biggest game changer for me to bring up my weak points, which is obviously legs lah. To train legs in the middle of the gym, nobody 5 a.m. and someone don't forget here now it's single digits. It's winter.
Yeah.
It's very very hard, man. I tell you,
How
like
how
some
does
days in the car.
how do you manage in terms with the climate change?
Oh, okay, so firstly, I layer up because I'm very used to Singapore. I mean, obviously, I'm still born and bred in Singapore. I was there for 27 years, right? But I layer up a lot, like at least 4 layers during winter when I train. This
Yeah.
is actually for safety wise. Like you really have to get warm before you start any movement. And climate change wise, I would say it's quite hard to do you know how you want to do the fasted check-in photos. Imagine you need to do it in natural light
Yeah.
outside. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
But one of the things I think is I think it's really mental, and one of the advice I can give people is start following UK bodybuilders.
True.
All the
Yeah.
UK bodybuilders are going through worse.
Yes.
Their winter, I think, is harsher than single
It's
One
digits.
in.
yeah, January. Yeah.
And so I think it does help with the mindset. Funny thing is it's very hard, right? Like you said, it sounds very difficult, but once you get into a groove, right,
Mhm.
and you are nailing it day by day, you know, win the day, you're nailing it day by
Mhm.
day, right? It becomes it becomes a very good feeling. I know people will say I'm very psychotic, but it becomes a very good feeling knowing that you know you can all these things are secondary. The main goal is still bring your best package. So actually with all these extra challenges, for example, I don't have the luxury, like now it's 5 p.m, right? Everything's closed. There's no hawker center, there's no
Yeah.
this, that, there's nothing. And every time we
Yeah.
eat out, it's $30 at least. So I think that at first was very difficult because I'm not used to the lifestyle. But after that, it became an advantage. Because now if I'm craving something, I can't get it. What? If I'm craving mee pok,
Correct.
I
Correct.
cannot buy. How
True.
to buy?
True. True.
Yeah.
True.
If I'm craving char kway teow, cannot. No way. No
Yeah.
way. And
How
even
how
if I make it
how
myself, it tastes like crap.
how's the
It's not the
supermarket
same.
there? Are
It's
they
not.
like 24
Oh, I mean,
7?
supermarkets are good. No, but no, there's no such thing. I like later after this, I'm probably gonna get groceries, but
All
it's
right,
closed like some place between 9 p.m., 10 p.m. max.
man.
But it's all very clean stuff, right? It's Australia doesn't have that. I would say if you compare to Asia, it doesn't have that flavor. So
Yeah.
everything is
Mm.
really functional. Like if you really
Spice.
don't put any
Yeah.
sauce, if you cook everything yourself, I think it's very, very ideal. It's like how, as you know, some of our friends went to Bali, they relocated just for that, just to be in an environment where it's
Correct.
conducive
True.
for bodybuilding, right? So I know, and I think you were talking about this in some of your podcasts as well. Like sometimes you got to go to that point actually to put yourself in an environment that there's no temptations because we're all
Mm.
human. End of the day, there's gonna be a point in the 25 weeks where I cave in. But if you eliminate those factors, the chance of failure is pretty much zero, lah, right?
Yeah, I mean, as much as possible, we want to minimize the
Mm,
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
but I
mm,
mean, yeah, as it is so true, being transparent, like you mentioned, in
yeah,
25 then in 25 weeks, there's days that you will
sure, for
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Unless you're not human, lah.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why.
How little you cave in, trust me,
Mm.
even the pros have that breaking point.
Everybody has
Yeah.
go through the same challenges. Is I guess how you deal with it, and I think the biggest learning lesson. So maybe I'll just share a bit of my history first. So I did
Sure.
basically I never competed in Singapore. Did my first show when I was in Adelaide, Australia.
Mm.
Came back, worked for 1 year. Then I met Sari. Worked
Mhm.
with him for that peak week. Flew just for a holiday in Sydney, but I went there to compete. Won my division. Super happy.
Correct.
First ever gold medal, right?
Yep. Yep.
Suddenly I start to think like actually I might not be so bad after all, because no politics. I mean, I thought there would be politics, but there was none because go there, pretty much only Asian guy.
Who said
The
you
Wait,
were
federation
wait.
is run
Before,
by. Hmm?
tell me who said
before,
you were
before. Okay.
bad?
Sorry
Okay.
again.
Look, look. Okay, wait. Before you continue this.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember at the airport
Yeah.
when I sent you off. Do you remember
Yeah.
that I told you you will win this? You,
I
you
remember
remember
lah,
that?
but yeah,
Huh? But yeah.
but
See.
you know at
Romance.
that moment you cannot at the moment you have to take it with a pinch of salt. You cannot get cocky,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, I
I
know. I know.
just yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Okay,
Because
Marcus,
yeah.
on I mean touching base on that, do you
Yeah.
think on that moment when Sarit said that were there thoughts of yourself knowing that you're gonna win the show?
No, but I had full confidence the moment he said it.
Fine,
I
good.
was fully encouraged, and like I said, the fact that he physically came down with his wife to send me off, and those words he spoke to me, and he was watching me eat my 20 egg whites or whatever. I cannot
28
tell
whites.
you how important that is. Like, okay, because I didn't, I was pretty
Yeah.
much doing a very, very low carb approach, or
Yep,
no
yep.
carb. I wouldn't even say low
Yeah.
carb. Who cares about
Yeah.
carbs at that point?
Yeah.
I just wanted to win, right? So
Yeah.
for me, mental was very good. I think that was my advantage. Like I said, if you tell me, hey bro, no carbs for 15 weeks, but you're gonna win, I'll do it, man. I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so that I would say, to answer your question, I would say that it did not assure me that I was gonna win, and I did not feel like I was gonna win, but I had the full confidence that I was gonna win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure,
Mm.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So okay, so I
Mhm.
continue. So very, very fast. I just,
Mm.
because there's too many, I gotta like
No worries.
cover. So I went there, came back with my first gold medal, super happy, and then I was so motivated. But I told myself like, okay, I need to focus on my studies, my work, blah blah. And then I took
Mm.
3 years off. Yeah, I took 3 years
Mhm.
off. So 2018 I took the whole year off, and then 2019 took 2020 took the whole year off. But at the end of it, I decided to go again. And because I took the 3 years off and listened to, advice from people saying that, natural, you can't compete every year because you're gonna present yourself with the same package every time. That
True.
also a big game changer for me. And that was just before COVID happened. So I did a couple of shows, but that was a very sad year for me because the whole year of competing over 3 to 4 shows, second place medal all the way. I have a mountain of second place medals, and that was very, very annoying. So it's like I tasted gold before, right? And then suddenly I taste all these silver
Yeah.
medals, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard lah to swallow. And then I was still, even before the silver medal, I was really
Feel
thinking
that
like, oh, maybe I'm gonna try to turn pro as a natural because they have many pro qualifiers here. And then obviously I didn't lah. Okay, obviously I didn't.
do you feel that having that run of second place is a setback for you, or do you feel that, oh, are you working with anyone else like on that run?
Okay, so ever since Sari, I never worked with anyone before in my life. Let's just be super clear with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's just say, I'll just be very straightforward with you. Let's just say I feel like I am a recreational bodybuilder who's doing his best. I'm focusing on my architecture career. I'm no PT, no cert, no experience in fitness industry, but I love bodybuilding, right? Like all of you
Yeah,
guys
yeah, yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never felt
Yeah.
the need to spend additional expenses on other things aside from competing, of course.
Listen,
So if you notice, I never really paid for supplements. I always was quite lucky to get sponsored. I never paid for any coach aside from Sari. I mean, after that, all the way, I never spent any additional expenses. So I would say I'm the most budget bodybuilder you can find lah.
I wouldn't say
And I'm
True.
budget
True.
lah. I
True.
would say
no,
correct.
until this day, right? If you go to my kitchen now, you open, there's literally fish oil, multivite,
Well, I
protein,
mean, it takes
BCA.
years
That's it.
from where you started off, right? Sorry, when
Correct lah. Correct.
yeah, from
Mm.
if you're gonna start at a young age, you meet with all the meathead. I mean,
Mm,
putting yourself to time and time of intensity, showing
yeah.
to the gym and stuff. I mean, reaching at this
I,
point,
correct.
I
I
guess.
feel like there will still be progress regardless of all the other
Yeah,
small
yeah, yeah,
factors
for sure,
lah.
for sure.
But people will say like, oh, you could have, there's so many tools in the box nowadays. Why you didn't use that to the advantage? Yes, you can say yes and no lah. I mean, looking back, yeah, I could use more things. I could use say for example more creatine. I could use what do you
Mhm.
call it? All those
Mhm.
supplements like I don't know, like after 30 people start taking test boosters. People start taking what ZMA, what for the sleep lah, magnesium.
Right.
Or I mean, after a while, yeah, I did try those things, but after a while, like it's not really budget friendly. Like I started to spend like what $200 just on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
vitamins and things, and then I just stopped lah. It's like no point. So I honestly just take whey protein isolate, BCA, your most natural
Mhm.
bodybuilder ever. My creatine comes from the red meat. So so everything is from the food lah. I'd say I put more money into the food side of things, and then
But
yeah. So
it's
getting
supposed to be that way, right?
yeah
All
lah, but I don't
we
think it's any harm to have at your advantage or disposal, because if not everybody's having, let's talk about all natural, right? Everybody's natural, but if you just stick to tuna and white rice or tuna and bread, you can still hit your protein and carb intake for
yeah,
sure if you're not sick of the thing. But you know, that other guys are gonna have a bit of an advantage lah. They're gonna have EAAs. They're gonna have like, you know, a bit of zinc, ZMA when they sleep. They're gonna have extra magnesium, iron. You know, you never know. You know, never know what your
Because
like. You know,
because
macros. There's
this
macros and there's micros, right?
Yeah,
So
macronutrients,
yeah.
micronutrients.
Mm.
All right,
the
So
okay.
only advantage that they might have is probably from the recovery point.
Yeah.
correct.
Recovery faster,
True.
and then definitely in between steps, you know, the EAs will help you with
Yeah. Intra
the
workout, you know, a bit
yeah,
of
yeah,
pre-workout here
yeah,
and there. All those
yeah.
count lah. I would say count lah. But so for me, I just try to keep it very minimalistic. Of course, I'm not
Right.
saying don't take those. I think if you can, it's important, but don't go to the point where like, wow, every workout you don't even those guys who don't even train intense, like really intense, like
Yeah.
45 minutes legs, really cannot already. Like if you 1.5 hours, 2 hours, you're still training legs, something's
No,
wrong,
no,
right?
no,
Like
no. Something is wrong. Something is wrong.
yeah, I'm pretty sure not even 45 minutes. I think if I train legs
Yeah.
with Sari, maybe two exercises gone already. I think half an
God,
hour enough already. Like just leg extensions, leg press, I think can say bye
that's
bye
it.
already.
That's it.
Yeah,
Bye
calf I do
bye.
tomorrow, you know. So I think it really boils down to how hard you train everything, and then these things can help you, like you said, recover. But as a
Mm-hmm.
baseline, I would say these are not really essential, and I've never really focused on those areas because I felt like I'm not gonna go to the Olympia, right? I'm just a fan
Mm.
of bodybuilding. I just wanna train. I just love to train intense and everything. And I still made some decent gains, right, from normal food. So I think everybody has a chance. If someone like that photo, that 50 kilo photo just now you show, if
Yeah.
I can, get to where I am, I don't think there's such a thing as you're not meant for bodybuilding. I think it's just whether you want it. How badly do you want it? Can you do it for the
True.
past 16 years? I've been doing it for 16 years. 17
Mm-hmm.
years this year. So if 17 years I can do it without injuries, I think it's possible lah. I think it's possible. And then so back to that string of second place medals, that was very one of the shows I actually cried backstage with my wife. I didn't really mention about this. I didn't post anything about this because I think there's no need. I know a lot of people, they do that thing. They post like emotional breakdown, then they tell the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really see the point of it. I feel like if you do that, then you're like, you know, you're saying like, oh, oh, something happened, like I felt sick lah. That's why, you're kind of like giving yourself
Bragging
excuse
right.
why you lost. Yeah, I think there's no point because end of the day, you didn't deliver. That's it, you know. And you don't make it like a sob story, like someone else didn't go through hardship also to win that first place from you, So I don't really like it when people do the thing like, oh, if I didn't get food poisoning that week, things might have been different. Nobody knows what things could have been different, but you could have just moved up one placing. Who say you're gonna win, right? So
Yeah, yeah. True.
but yeah, that was a hard year. I cried backstage because I knew how much I put, my dedication. I put my heart and soul
Yeah,
doing the cardio and training everything, and then I couldn't believe that I got second. Not that I couldn't believe I lost. I couldn't believe I got second. Very different. So
So
I really wanted to prove something to myself very hard, but obviously it wasn't my year, and COVID happened after that, and then fast forward 2023 again, another 3 years. I got my first natural pro card. Then that was amazing. Like, and then that was my goal to get it at 30 years old. So I was 30 years old that year before turning 31, and I got it. And then the federation said like, okay, so I joined this federation that has a main federation is in America. So it's called the Natural Olympia. So if you win the pro card, right, you can actually go there and compete at the Natural Olympia, right? And they said, don't waste it. They said, do it now. Do it end of the year since you're in shape. Naturally, people will do it, but somehow, and I didn't have my kid yet, so it's easier. But somehow, something told me
not to.
not to lah. Just and of course, I threw the opportunity away. Actually, if I look at the rules again, right, I basically have to requalify. I don't qualify anymore,
Oh really?
so I threw my chance away. Yeah, so that was my
Mm.
chance, and I postponed it because I just wasn't happy with my package. I just want to improve. Okay, so there's always two steps you can take once you've
So
done
basically
something.
now you have to requalify.
Correct, correct. If Yeah, for that federation, if I'm not wrong also, I need to get my pro card again.
What?
So okay, so how that works, right, is that for natural shows, it's quite tough. It's like you need to turn pro, right? Once you turn pro, you got a pro card. Every year, right, to retain the pro
You
status,
need
you
to
have
go
to
through.
compete as a pro, which
Ah.
I disagree as a natural. I think if you're an IFBB pro and they say, let's say if it's registration fee or not registration fees, like you have to compete every year to retain pro status, it makes sense. Okay, but as a natural, didn't make sense for me. So I took the hard decision of turning down that thing, and I'm not gonna spend what many $1,000 just to fly all the way to Vegas
Yeah, but I
just to
mean,
do that.
To touch on that, I mean, I believe be it enhanced or natural,
hmm hmm
when giving,
How's it like for the IVP,
yeah,
the pro status thing?
for pro status thing, I mean, if
Yeah,
giving someone a 12 months window to come back again and compete, I mean,
yeah,
then what's
yeah,
the point of to see progress, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
True. I think
yeah,
even if you're enhanced, I think 1 year is hard, man. Like,
yeah, exactly. I
what
mean, if you want
1
to
year is
have that
hard.
impact and take that feedback,
At least two. At least
yeah,
two.
at
Yeah.
least two, you know, yeah,
Because you know why? Because 2 years of it is only be 1.5 because half the year you
exactly,
spend prepping. Aha. People always
exactly.
Yeah,
forget.
correct.
Oh,
True.
I'm taking a 2 year
Downtime,
off season.
yeah,
No, no,
True,
no.
true.
You're taking a
Yeah.
1.5 year off
yeah,
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct,
So
correct.
so
really.
so I yeah. So I made that hard choice to say no and don't regret it actually because 2 years later, which is now this year, I brought my all-time best package ever. I went to and then they came out with concurrently they came out with the IFBB Natural Regional Show, and that was in
Mm.
Korea. So just to update you guys, I just came back from Korea 1 month ago. So I went to Korea. I did 3 shows. First one is a natural regional show. The third one is a natural regional show, but in between I did Monster Zim. Monster Zim is obviously not tested lah. So that's just one of the I think you guys know is the most popular
Yeah, true, true.
production wise. It's like a very local Korean show, and then I was just lost
Mm.
lah. Basically, everybody speaking Korean, so even they call my number in Korean, they tell me to line up in Korean. Everything is Korean, so it was a bit hard lah. But just monkey see, monkey do backstage. Just learn, just enjoy the process. But I think out of all the 3 shows, that was the most fun one. And I even met the classic physique Olympian Bang Ji Hoon. The what's that?
Oh, all right. I think
Bucky guy, the one
Bucky.
who looks like anime character.
Yes,
He
the
recently
Bucky.
turned pro, and I think he qualified for Olympia, did well, and then yeah, so I just it was a nice experience competing there because you get to line up with pretty much everyone's Asian, everyone's Korean lah. There's no
Yeah.
much international people, and you see how insanely good they are, man. Like it's just a bit eye opener for me, and I think they would, if not for their language barrier and if not for them wanting to venture out, they could destroy Australian competition. Trust me, man.
Okay. Okay. Before you carry on. Right,
Sorry,
before you carry
I
on.
talk a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, no, that's okay. Talking about the Koreans, right? I have
Mhm.
the benefit of training one of the Korean actors. Okay.
Okay. Who?
So Yoon
Okay.
Shin
No.
Yoon.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I don't know. Well, okay.
He's coming back. I also don't know. I didn't
Okay.
even know
Okay.
he was a big time Korean actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's gonna act in a movie Netflix series called Taxi Driver,
Oh, nice.
season 3. Season 3. So he's gonna be the villain. So
Oh.
the requirement for me to train him
Yeah.
for a week plus, right?
Okay.
To get him down to uh 5% body fats. Which
Wow.
when he meet me, he's almost there already. So when I say even the actors have the stench of to get down to certain physical demands, what else can we talk about the bodybuilders? You know what I mean? The
Exactly. Yeah.
mentality, the mentality.
If they can do it, then what are we, right?
Yeah, correct. The actor that he was training in Balestier, the members in Balestier was going like, what the hell is this guy? He's like,
Yeah.
everyone looking in awe, no, how he look. And he's just an actor. You see what I mean?
Hey guys, I think we need
And
to stretch it to part 3 again.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, sure, okay. No
See you
worries, no
guys on
worries.
Okay.
part 3.
Last one. Last one. Short one. Last one.
Last
Short one.
one.
Yeah.
Last one. Okay.